You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. My guest, Kweku Bako, Sami Jemfi, Kofi Bentel, and Alexander Kwamena Afinyomaki. Now, I
thought I was going to
no, we were.
He
actually took more than I gave him to conclude. So let's take a listen. President Mahama brought up an issue, and then subsequently, we have heard the NDC as a party speak to the issue. And there's actually been a call by a deputy minister for, is it Interior or which one of them?
Defense.
That for defense, that President Mahama and Bagbin should be arrested. They shouldn't be walking free by now. Let's find out why.
Well, I heard it. I've also done some investigation personally into it, and it's true. It's very, very true. You see,
it's true that they are training tax.
Yes.
Are these not national?
Everybody.
National security operatives? Are they
no,
not?
No. They are not national security operatives. They are NPP operatives. There is no secret in the world. I mean, people must know that. They must know that even some of the people doing the training are not happy, okay, that they are doing those training. They don't think that it's proper for them to come and visit that kind of harm and mayhem on their brothers and sisters who might not agree with them on the political, which of the political sides to belong to, you know. And even they must know that the people training them are themselves worried, okay? If you are training civilians, you are training civilians on how to use AK-47. You are even endangering the armed forces. The professional soldiers moving around will now have unprofessional civilians who know how to use AK-47, sometimes countering them. And what we're doing, we must stop. It is true, my brother, it is true. If they say it is not true, let's bring international listen to investigate.
We remember what happened in Ayawaso West Wuogon. I pray that God forbids that nothing like that ever happens again. But you know the issue of vigilantes, you know, that especially one party is training. I remember at the time of Ayawaso West Wuogon, there was a letter that came out, you know, asking some party executives to bring able-bodied people to be trained, you know, as security for that party during elections. Since then, we have evidence that those people are being sent to Asotwari and trained in batches over and over again.
I have not heard, and I have not seen any move by the NPP party to train anybody in any of the military institutions. We have Bondase training camp. Asotwari, where they mention, yes, that is a military training camp. We have Army Recruit Training Center. Nobody is there. We have only recruits who have been enlisted, legally enlisted. Since 2017, they have passed through this training ever since we came to power. And the recruitment procedures were followed. They are not militias. They are proper recruits who would sooner or later become professional soldiers. We have Air Force training, recruit training school. We have Navy training school. We have military academy and training school. We are not training any militias there.
With specific reference to Asotwari, I'm just wondering, have you independently verified since this allegation surfaced?
Independently? I have the Deputy Defense Minister. You are talking about independently. The training institution is in my ministry. And why should I independently? I am saying that we don't have setting there. Nothing is going on. Militia training in addition. Why? Why should the government, the ruling government, NPP, government train militia? The baseless accusation, the baseless statement you are making, throwing dust into the people's eyes. What they want to achieve is to cause fear and panic.
Right. So on this note, we start with Sami, and you have been leading the explanation after your flag bearer and the Deputy Speaker, you know, had to bring these issues to the fore. So I sought to ask, is this one of the things that we expect in the silly season, or this is real? Where is the proof of the claims of this serious nature that you are making against the government?
Something I can tell you, that this is real, and this is nothing but the truth. And as a law-abiding political party which is committed to a peaceful, free and fair 2020 elections, we are concerned because we do not see the same commitment on the part of President Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party. And that is why our flag bearer, who a few years ago was Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, together with the NDC as a corporate body, are raising these germane concerns. I said not too long ago he was Commander-in-Chief, just to let you know that as former Commander-in-Chief, he doesn't just speak, but he speaks on the basis of proving fact-based information, verifiable intel. Now, anytime we make this point that it is true that President Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party are currently training NPP thugs at Asochuare and other sensitive security installations for purposes of election 2020, we are called upon to adduce evidence, legitimately so. So I will just move straight to that point. For us, the main evidence on this issue is contained in the 28th January 2019 letter, which was authored by the Upper West Regional Security Liaison Officer, Captain Simon Ansu Tingabu, 28th January. And if I may, this letter is addressed to NPP constituency chairman in the Upper West region. It says, "Dear sir, selection and submission of election 2020 security team members for training. Grateful you submit a list of suitable security-oriented party members, not forestry guards, not national security recruits, but security-oriented party members for training as election security team to closely monitor the 2020 election, starting from," it goes on and on. Now for us, this is conclusive evidence that indeed President Akufo-Addo, who is the chairperson per Section 1 of the Security and Intelligence Act, the chairperson of the National Security Council, and under whom this captain operated under time, this is proof that they have the intention of training NPP thugs, NPP activists for purposes of election 2020. Intention.
Okay.
And they have actually moved into execution. Now, when we raise this matter, we're told that, oh, the said captain has been relieved of his position.
Joy, this
Yes.
was brought up on
Yes.
JoyNews,
Yes.
and he was subsequently spoken to.
Yeah.
He actually confirmed this and suggested that they actually needed strong and not weak people.
Yes.
We were informed
Yeah.
that he actually was sacked.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I have your investigative report, which actually confirmed it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I came to Joy FM this week, I think it was on Tuesday, I told Evans to hasten slowly because there is no evidence that the reason why Captain Tingabu, who authored this letter, was relieved of his position was as a result of government's disapproval of this letter. Because I have done my checks again, and you can check with your reporter, Rafiq Salam. This Captain Tingabu was engaged on a 2-year contract basis. His contract lapsed at the end of March 2019. He was not removed, he was not sacked as a result of government disapproval of this letter. As a matter of fact, 2 months after this letter became public.
This is intention.
An execution, I'm coming.
This does not show
but
evidence
you see, this is,
of some militia being trained.
This is a very serious matter because something here is a state official appointed by the president writing a letter to a political party asking them to submit to him able-bodied party men to be trained, security-oriented party members to be trained at the expense of the taxpayer, a state official. This is illegal. This is criminal. And yet, because the president approves of this letter, he left him at post for 2 months until his employment contract elapsed. before he was replaced. So it is not true that he was sacked because of government's disapproval of this.
Okay,
that is
so
number one.
Proceed to show us the evidence.
Number
of
two,
training at
we
Asuchari.
have adduced pictorial and video evidence that shows that indeed, and I brought some of the pictures here printed, indeed, NPP thugs who we live with in various communities, at Mamubi, at Community 1, at Asawase, have been sent to Asuchari in batches and are being trained. The suggestion is that, oh, they are national security recruits. I have identified two people. One is called Jordan. One is called Moro. I said it on Metro. I said it on Peace. I'm saying it here. They are not national security recruits. Mr. Baku says that, because we've been debating this issue, you know, and he says that they are national security recruits. Now, is it not strange that the very people who are asking us to bring evidence are not able to adduce any appointment letter to show that these people are national security recruits? The national security minister, the minister of state in charge of national security, are all in town. They have not been able to issue any statement to say authoritative that these are new recruits. On Thursday, I was with Mr. Bako, and I was just drawing his attention to that. When he showed, you know, he referred to a press release that, you know, was sent to him from the National Security PR department. He wasn't too sure at the time whether it had been published or not, indicating that these are national security operatives. And so on that show, I challenged national security that if you claim that these are national security operatives, formalize it, issue a statement, because there will be consequential actions. You know that after the program, they couldn't publish the statement till now. They have not been able to publish any statement. And so we are saying that we know Jordan, we know Moro, they live at Mamubi. They are not national security operatives. If you claim they are national security operatives, bring the appointment letters or issue a statement to that effect, and the necessary consequential actions will follow. Then number three.
Why
then number three.
The first time that national security would be training operatives at the place, and why is it that this time round they have to publish the names of the people who are being trained?
Because
if you know that they have been doing these exercises there and they have not been called upon to publish
because
any names.
Never in the history of Ghana have I seen a security liaison officer who works under national security writing and seeking to recruit party thugs who are not national security operatives to be trained by the national security. And so if people are being trained, known NPP thugs, and the claim is that they are operatives, recruits, what stops national security
you are making
from issuing a statement?
You are making a deduction that once this man had written,
yes,
the people who are being trained at Asuchari must be from the stock that he sought to recruit.
Not just that. This letter doesn't refer to national security operatives, but party thugs. We know that as a matter of fact. Government has not issued a disclaimer on this letter. Number two, we know these people who are being trained. We live in the community. Mamobi, we have party people there who know them. They are not national security recruits. I've mentioned their names. Now, I've circled, I'll show them to you when I'm done with my presentation. Now, you claim, you are government, you claim you have recruited them. When we saw that Zugu Max, you know, guys, Double and his colleagues at Ayawaso West Wogon and were in doubt as to where they were coming from, the national security outfit at the time issued a statement, you remember, owned up. Brian Champon said, I deployed them, I know them, they are from this unit. Why can't they do same? They have now brought a video of a training of some forestry guys saying that, oh, they are forestry guys. We are not talking about that video. The forestry guys were all in one uniform, green, one uniform haircut and all that. They were in a makeshift green structure. That is not what we are talking about. We are talking about these people. They are not national security operatives, and nobody has been able to prove otherwise. But the key point here is that, Samson, even if, that is assuming without admitting, that they are even national security operatives, it will still not legitimize this illegality. Because we all know of Article 85 of the 1992 Constitution that says that no agency, establishment, or other organization can be established for purposes of national security if it has not been provided under the 1992 Constitution.
The practice is that, and from the Short Commission, this is not the first time that the national security will maintain an operational force, except that the Short Commission had recommended that it be disbanded, and government rejects that approach.
If something is unconstitutional, it is void ab initio. Whether it has been in existence for a century or a millennium is not an issue.
Okay.
We know Article, please, just 2 minutes. Article 210 Clause 2 is clear. You cannot raise an armed force without the authority of Parliament. You read the Security and Intelligence Act, under which the national security operates. They have no such powers. So it is clear that it will still be illegal. Then there are those who want to equalize and say that, oh, even under Mahama, there was similar training. The key issue there is, what use were they being put to? Were they armed? Were they deployed for election security purposes? Like we saw during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election, where contrary to our laws, Double and his colleagues were armed with sophisticated weapons, deployed on election day, disrupted elections at violation.
You agree that you are making a deduction?
Not deduction,
and
that is evidence.
You are projecting on top of that they are being trained for purposes of causing mayhem during elections.
But this is not a deduction. This is apparent on the face of the letter uttered by the Upper West Regional Security Officer, which government has endorsed because no punitive action was taken against it.
And who do you know has been recruited through this letter?
I have contacted our executives in the Upper West
and
Region.
you have confirmed
most of the people we have seen, the batches,
yes, are people recruited through this?
Yes, from all the regions, 16 regions.
How do you prove that? How do you prove that?
But you see, this is a clear letter showing the recruitment.
We know this letter. I think
I have given you names.
Joy Investigations that brought this letter long ago.
Yes.
So we don't have any issue with that.
And Samson, I have given you names. Inobiso.
Names.
Pictures. This guy is called Jordan.
You are mentioning this guy is called
Jordan.
I don't know.
So we have made allegations. We are proving.
Know.
The onus is on them to come and deny. We have given you names. I am telling you that this guy is called Jordan, this guy is called Moro. They live at Mamobi. They are not national security operatives. You claim they are national security operatives. Who is the chairman of national security? Publish the appointment letters or issue a statement and own them up. That one you can do. You sent a letter to Mr. Bako on the evening of, on the morning of Thursday, right. Just last week Thursday. You couldn't publish it because we dared you. So in conclusion, let me just conclude on this point, Samson. You see, in conclusion, what we are saying is that even if they are national security operative, it won't make it right. Even if you are able to establish that under Mahama II, national security operatives were trained, we have gone past that stage. And especially because of Ayawaso West were gone. And what we now know, as the tendency of this government to deploy an armed force, an illegal armed force for purposes of election security. So we are concerned. We are telling President Akufo-Addo that when it comes to elections, our laws are clear. It is only the Ghana Police Service and none other which is responsible for election security. Let us all play by the rules. Halt these illegal trainings. You are the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, for God's sake. Have some confidence in the Ghana Police Service and the military and the fire service. Believe in them that if given the free hand, they can ensure that election 2020 is peaceful, free and fair. And stop these illegal training. That wishy-washy, half-witted response from the NPP denial will not wash because these are indisputable facts.
Kuku, is it, I start with Kuku, is it a fact or it is not a fact that this training at Asuchari is going on?
As at now?
Yes. As at the time, this about 2-3 months ago, right? What they are referring to is about...
It's June.
Yeah, June.
July.
Yeah. Is it true or not that this happened?
National security operatives underwent training at Asuchari and indeed at Chiasi, June to July. That's a fact. It's recorded.
Yes.
And some of those pictures reflect that event.
Okay.
Yes, I was with him on, that's Sami on Metro. He showed me some 2 pictures. I don't know whether he brought them here. The one,
that one is in soft form. Yeah.
Yes, you showed me.
Yeah, I will show it to you right.
Yes, and he insisted these were NPP activists. The guy in the white T-shirt.
And one.
Yes.
You see, we have a benefit that may not make it too difficult for people to discuss.
I circled him.
Yes,
because we through the
this one
through the Ayawaso
this one we've not taken. These are the
Ayawaso Wagon Commission hearings.
We knew him, but these are the
okay, gentlemen, don't have a conversation here. Don't the two of you don't have it. Through that hearings, we have come to know that people who a few months before were just members of the NPP and were said to be associated with you know, the hooligans, you know, parading and disturbing through the, what do you call them, invisible forces and all of that, we got to know that some of them had actually been drafted into national security. And they were actually sent on official assignment to go and work at Ayawaso, West Wegon. So what do you think? They must have concern that they have identified people within those who have been trained in June, July to belong to the party, and they legitimately ought to raise an issue.
It would be sheer dishonesty on my part if I were to say that I'm unaware of this practice or phenomenon of party activists, members or cadres finding their way into public sector agencies, including national security. It would be total dishonesty, because I know that it's been happening since, let's restrict ourselves to the Fourth Republic. It's known, a notorious fact. See, this is a report by the Finder, 9th or 8th December 2014. It was based on a petition that had been sent to the higher authority. It is titled, of course, typos, petition from the distressed travel intervention personnel who are without jobs. And the argument was that there were 100 NDC foot soldiers who took part in the election 2008 campaign for the party and brought the party to power. And then they were recruited and trained by national security. Incidentally, the major who is now the head of the PR section of national security, is then Captain Awuni, was the one who was training them then. He's still there, he's permanent. He's a permanent staff. And this letter, this petition is signed, they put their names and telephone numbers there. They were trained and absorbed for a while, but they were doing temporary jobs and things. And so these guys said, look, we wanted a full-time employment with the same security outfit. They packed them from the Castle Annex and sent them to Abelimpi. There's a state transport corporation yard there. This is the argument. And they were calling on President Mahama to take some disciplinary action against this Major I.R. Awuni, because they thought had become, he was targeting them unnecessarily. Their pictures too are here at the training. I don't like showing these things. They are here. This is the NDC era. I know 2 of them myself. But I think that this discussion is being done in a way that national security has become like it's like free for all, and it's hurting. In the implications, we're showing pictures around and everything. Somebody was telling me, oh, we know this man on Metro and all that. See, I've done my checks. Those that are in the pictures have been recruited into national security since 2017. 1 or 2 or 3 could be NPP. I would not be surprised. In fact, I would be shocked if that didn't happen.
Because that was some of the promise given to some of the guys who were party security,
and they all do it.
So to speak.
In fact, there are some who today, part of Mr. Mahama's detail, who were recruited during the NDC era and trained by national security. They are now part. Oh, I have the list.
It's a different arrangements.
Please, you were here.
Allow him to make his
I was
submission.
here when you were talking.
But you see, when the government assumed power and the invisible forces and Delta people, they felt there was a delay in giving them the promised jobs. Some of them were talking to us and they were unhappy. Yeah. In fact, they felt we could speak for them so that they will be giving jobs, because they had been promised that they will be giving jobs in the military and all sorts of places.
It's recurrent. All the 2 parties who have ruled this Fourth Republic have all indulged in that. National security operatives. See, This man, I heard one NDC lady on Peace FM saying that, oh, we know him at Tema. We always see him. It's true. This man, Sammy showed me that picture.
But not part of the two I had circled, I had identified.
Sammy,
not Jordan and
you said last Thursday, you pointed that man out as an MPP person. I don't know whether it's MPP or not, but I will not be surprised. The point I'm saying is that he was at that training.
Okay.
See, when you finish that training, you are given a certificate of participation.
Okay.
Okay? This is the guy. He's at the Tama port.
Okay.
Okay? This is his national security ID. This is another one that takes him in there. This is his certificate of participation. The role, so Jonathan Yaboa, so participated in capacity building and teamwork training at the Asuchari training camp from 8th June to 5th July. Many more here. Okay, this is what? Ransford Amwa. Same thing. Asuchari training camp, 8th June to 5th July. They are national security operatives. I'm talking here of that.
But I think you shouldn't mention the names any further.
Thank you. I feel very uncomfortable doing what I'm doing. And I have to be honest with you. It's one subject matter I feel very uncomfortable doing. But once you put it in the public domain and you've made it an issue and you have invited us to come and sit here, I'm not sure I can impose a code of silence on myself, particularly when we have our friends running route with speculations, suspicions, conjecture, and to some extent misinformation.
But here's the fear, and there may be, it must be a genuine fear.
But their people are still there. See, if that's what we're going to do, are we asking for a pledge?
They are talking about at a time when we have had a by-election, the outcome of which you and I know.
Yes, Samson. You see what? And you try to ask him that what he was doing was deductive. I could go back. Talensi, was this the army and the police who went shooting? Those who were doing the shootings, Chiraponi, he was a national security operative on video. You know he was an NDC cadre who was recruited. So the solution is let's go back, screen. I have the list here. I have a list here of about 40 NDC activists who are today still in national security. Some were dismissed, some were taken out. About 304. They used to call them tabletops and things. They were taken out, but there are 40 or so still there. The team that guards President Mahama, some of them are in it. Are we going to purge? If it's a purging exercise we want, that those who, and is it possible that because I'm a party member? No, but there's the
other part of what they are saying,
which is
their major concern.
Which is?
That we do not have a history where these party people drafted into national security are put out.
That's why I asked you, who did the shooting at LNC?
To do election security work.
Who did the shooting at LNC? Who did the shooting at Chireponi? I'm asking you. The Chireponi man, Kwame Sefakai chased, is it Kwesi Ofori, for years. That what is the action government or national security are taking against that person? He was known, seen, shooting, doing the shooting. He was a cadre who had been opted into national security. What happened? You took no action. Talensi, did you hear of any arrest? Who were they? Look, if we want a solution that, look, no party, and that's why I said it's virtually impossible, to say that anybody with party affiliation should not be recruited into national security. As naive as that proposition is, we can interrogate it. Because I'm telling you, it's not possible. They are there in their hundreds since this Fourth Republic started. And I've just shown you pictures. So that was the NDC era.
The danger they speak about is real.
If the two, that's why I'm asking you, what is the solution? What is it? What is it? Okay. Should we go back, screen the membership of national security personnel?
Let's hear Bento. He says he's got a solution. Yes, what's the solution?
The solution was articulated at the Emil Short Commission. By law, nobody, not the president, not the party.
No, we're not talking of a standing force.
Let me go on.
And you know, but I'm just showing the guy works at the port.
No.
He's deployed.
Once again, if you say that is your issue,
then
issues. You have moved from your initial position.
Thank you.
That these are party people being trained for party work, but to disrupt elections. To party people employed by national security, whom you have feared that when national security deploys them for work during elections, they would work against.
Good distinction. That's the distinction.
We are saying all the two things you have just recounted. Number one.
No, you should say one, not two.
No, two. Because
you can't say two.
Hold on. I'm saying that party tax are actually being recruited and trained by national security.
And
this
is conclusive. The history is that.
Hold on.
This is not the first time.
We are talking
about all the parties.
And so what? Does that make it right?
Can't we these guys should bring together as security for party? And when you win power, you give them jobs in the security.
What are we equalizing? Under Mahama,
is this equalization? This exposure.
Did you ever see any trained armed force made up of party tax being deployed for election for purposes of election security?
Did you see some references and ask you who are those who shot?
That you see, to talk about the misconduct or the professional conduct of one national security operator.
Thank you.
It's not the same as deploying a SWAT team with Azugu Max operatives and all that.
It doesn't.
Yes,
the equalization is most unfortunate and terrible. It's abysmal. But here's the solution. Go ahead. Please. Go ahead. The solution is this.
Happened under Mahama, so it's okay.
In short, going forward,
it's exposure of hypocrisy.
By law, and as articulated at the Short Commission, for every election, there should be no other irregular force, whether uniformed or not, except the Ghana Police and Ghana Army. Present. Let me make my point. I am going.
So you say for election, but it is not actually for election. They shouldn't be there in the first place.
I agree, but I'm starting from somewhere. I'm starting from somewhere. I could have started from the top. I'm starting from the bottom.
Right.
The base.
Right.
The base is, one, for elections, nobody should see anybody, whether uniformed or not, organized trying to do anything. And if they are found, they should be carried away and dumped in a hole. The reason why I'm so strong about it is that, look, these are the same people who destabilize nations. I don't have time to go into the history. And both parties are guilty. That is one. Now, no. Sorry. Look, the evidence is there that in trying to secure themselves against each other, both parties have compromised the security of this country. We saw it in Ayawaso. People who were masked were going out with guns after people.
Who were the victims?
Citizens.
So Babwing is right that some of the people who are actually doing this training are themselves not happy. Because they are in uniform and they know what it means to train these people.
I wanted to start from the base, but you let me just go. Listen, the people who are training these thugs, okay, imagine this. When the time, for instance, for election comes, and these thugs are unleashed, you know who they'll be fighting? The same regular army and the police. So you are training a tiger who will shoot at you one day. So they understand what they're talking about. But I'm saying, look, these two parties, they're both at fault. At the end, all of us should just resolve that at elections and at any other space within this country. Because the law says that even national security, even the presidency, if it wants to have a force, should draw the force from the regular police. And I think we citizens have a right, led by political parties, whenever we find somebody who is supposed to be a police person or dressed like a police person or any security operative, and we are not sure the person is a police person, we should flag it out. So to that extent, I agree with what the NDC has done. Evidence is the name of the game. If you see somebody being trained and you say, this person is a party operative, okay, bring me the pictures, bring me the names, give me the evidence, and I think it warrants an official response. I am not saying we cannot employ party people into national security, but if it so happens, the person must understand that they are no longer a party operative. They are under national security. They are taking orders from their security.
And what do you say about what do you say about the other danger? What do you say about the other danger? Where they train people and then they give them a job, and you get a job because your party is in power, and your party loses power, and then the next party comes in, and there is mass, dismissal.
It is wrong.
And I know it happens in many sectors, not only in the security sector. Right.
It is very wrong.
And if these people who have been trained to handle AK-47s and do all these things suddenly find that they have no jobs, that's the danger.
Yes, it's a danger. And I think, again, you see, nation building, things happen, you learn and you move forward. In another country, this happens. When the new government comes in, you know, before you qualify to do certain things, you have to meet a certain minimum standard. If it is found that these people were put in, given arms, and they didn't meet the standard, the records are there to track to who employed them. So this purge and that kind of thing is really dangerous, because when you train somebody to kill and you remove them from control, sometimes the only thing they have to do is to use those skills to survive, and it becomes a problem. So I am saying, one, much as we cannot stop people who have party affiliations from being recruited, we should make the recruitment process so objective, so proper. It may not happen immediately, but we should aim at that. And if we find evidence, and we should continue to interrogate this, if we find evidence that the wrong people have been trained and given guns, we should be able to track to who employed them and go after those people.
I see.
Because it is a risk for everybody.
Okay. Okay. And Afia, what do you say? Because if we move the discussion from, you know, the two parties being petty about these, you know, real threats to the state, questions will be asked. We now have had evidence of a commission of such huge competence, sterling competence, come out to say, stop this thing. It is wrong. The Constitution says you shouldn't do it. And even in a situation where they single out somebody who has gone through this process and they tell you punish them, we find, you know, a defense that doesn't exist in law for them. What would you, what?
All right. So, Samson, there are two issues here. The Commissioner Short's recommendations and President Mohammed's speculation, allegation, conjecture. So let me first deal with what President Mohammed said. He says that government is training some people, party people, to possibly use them for rigging. NDC has gone to town with it. So let's look at the history. 2016, President Mahama lost to Nanado, almost 1 million votes. NDC from 92 to 2016, altogether, has had the privilege of serving this country 16 years. NPP, 8 years, and this our third term, I should put it. Recently, former President Rawlings made it clear to all Ghanaians and his own party people that President Mahama knows he's losing the 2020 election and he's only putting himself up for 2024. He made it clear when he was addressing the cadres. The NPP came into office with a promise, and that promise was well enshrined in its manifesto. So far, I would want NDC, Sami, to sit with me, pick our manifesto. I pick the same manifesto, we start marking. Free SHS, have we implemented? Issue of addressing the unemployment situation, at least the NAPCO policy to, in the interim, give some relief. Have we done that? The privatization drive, have we done that? I'm saying that this was brought in as a diversion. And unfortunately, it has become a matter of discussion. But really, Sammy, look at all the factors. Do a reality check. Ask yourself that, do we need party tax to frustrate you, to enable us win? We don't. This government is going to win.
They are telling you they saw what happened at Ayawaso. Intelligence that was never followed. Allegations that they claimed that they were going for a cache of arms or whatever it is. They never pursued that. And yet we know the results.
Samson, at the risk of being repetitive, I'll reiterate that point made by former President Rawlings. And I am using this to question his sincerity in the submission he's made, alleging that this government intends to frustrate him in the 2020 election. The founder of the party has told you that you know you are going to lose and that you only did this to capture leadership for 2024. You've not answered that. None of you. You asking?
So you are also diverting from.
No, I'm not diverting.
You say this is diversion.
Look, when you are doing cross-examination, credibility test, the witness, the one I'm trying to put to you, that the one who has made that allegation.
So let's agree that
does
now
not meet that test.
From so far,
he knows he's losing the election. He needs to lose.
Let's agree.
Look for
let's
excuses.
put the issues in perspective. That so far, this is the agreement, somewhat, that there is a group that has been trained in Esochari.
Is being trained.
June, July. No, you can't show again that there's a training going on now. Now we have come to understand.
Forest guards.
Yeah, we have come to understand that the claim that they are NPP tax being trained to unleash mayhem during the elections may not be accurate, and that the fact actually could be that some of them may belong to the NPP, and they have been employed by national security, and national security is now training them for the purposes of its operational work. Here is now the question.
Yes.
This is the same situation that we set up a commission that says we should stop. We're rejected by a white paper. Do you see the danger as Kofi Bento sees?
Something.
In fact, Baku sees. He himself sees. But of course, the politics will not allow you guys to deal with the issue in a certain way.
You always
this is blackmail.
Yes, go.
Together. This is blackmail.
We are nothing like
blackmail.
Yes. Okay, so we need to exhaust discussions on the allegations made by President Mahama. And let's underline it, that people are being trained for the purposes of unleashing violence, frustrating the elections, and rigging it. These were the allegations. So let's exhaust discussions on it. And I'm saying that from that viewpoint, can he say that the allegation made by President Rawlings against him, that he knows he's going to lose, hence he's just taking over, he wants to, as it were, create certain impressions so that when he loses 2020, he will say that, oh, you know, there was rigging, so give me another opportunity in 2024. I'm saying that having heard what President Rawlings said, and having heard the deafening silence of the NDC on that very serious matter by their founder.
This is a red herring.
And the sudden statement by President Mahama alleging that this is likely to happen to him, I'm basically saying, look, he's just acting as a bad loser. He's seeing defeat ahead of him, only wants to use this as a diversion, create a certain impression that, if I lose, it's not because Ghanaians have rejected me for the second time, but it's because somebody trained somebody to frustrate me. And that is unfair.
Do you think you are taking the electorate for granted?
How?
You are taking them as unintelligent at this point?
Please, with respect, if that question should rather go to the NDC. Because if the NDC says that,
you are supposed to answer this question.
I am saying,
you're leaving it to say that because the NPP, you beat the NDC in elections without using a
we don't need them. All I'm saying is that we don't need something. Please, we will come to Ayawaso. I am making a point, and you should also be fair in agreeing to the point that I've made.
Okay.
You were in this country.
I use Ayawaso to ask you the question. Sorry. No.
Can I?
You see, this is a very serious issue.
You were here.
Because you know the first topic.
You were here 2 weeks ago.
I'm just
sorry.
You were here. You were in this country 2 weeks ago. You heard what President Rawlings said. You again
so you are still there. You are not moving.
No, I'm moving. You have again heard what President Mahama has just said, and I'm telling you that politically, that statement must not be given weight. It is to serve that political convenience. Now, on the substantive issue, you want to ask vigilantism in our body politic. It's a threat to our democracy. And as a result, you and I know, even before Commissioner Short finished his work, government took steps in ensuring that we had an enactment in place. You recall in the State of the Nation address, Mr. President urged the political parties to sit together to find a way of dealing with this. Considering the fact that it happened at Asawase, it happened at wherever, Chiripone, and other places. And of course, the issue about Ayawasu West Wugon, we saw it on, we saw the videos, we saw pictures. I'm saying that we now have that law in place. There are punitive measures that even if somebody commits an offense, you, the General Secretary, a principal officer of the party, will be liable. Is there?
What happened to Double?
I am saying, please, with respect.
It's just a question.
Kofi,
The recommendation.
Kofi,
Yeah.
Kofi,
Ask the police to investigate.
But are they investigating anything?
Because of
Kofi,
Kofi,
so
I'm helping
Kofi.
along.
We don't know.
He's been left off the hook. Sometimes I'll plead for just 2 minutes.
All right, I'm sorry, but
Samson,
we won't be able to
Samson,
take any further time.
Samson,
Yeah.
if these things are supposed to continue,
We've been talking and talking and talking.
He's talking to me, he's not talking to you. He's not talking to
so
you.
I'm saying that if we are to the issue of vigilantism is a concern, I mean, which is a concern to all of us. In 2012, physically, broad daylight, I was pushed into a gutter by a known NDC activist. He's still there in Winneba. 3 days to election. He saw me, pushed me into a gutter. I was nearly killed. I was campaigning at Akosua village. Hoodlums came with knives, machetes, guns. When they were arrested, the MDC at the time, may his soul rest in peace, ordered their release. He signed the bill. May his soul rest in peace. So I am saying that anything that threatens our democracy must be condemned. It must be condemned because I have seen it in opposition. Right. I experienced that pain.
Thank you very much. Newsfile is brought to you by the kind courtesy of Bank of Africa, as strong as a group and close as a partner. MTN everywhere you go. Star Assurance, your solid partner. Amen Scientific, God is the healer. And Super Cement, build your dream. GIA, always remember, insurance companies, claims payments are business. We'll be right back.